Hi, what's going on, guys? Today we're gonna talk about the pump. Chasing the pump, is it something that you should do or not? And in my opinion, this is a no. You shouldn't, chase the pump because this is not something measurable. You need, measurable factors to improve in the gym. And so here, the pump is simply not something you can measure. So since you can't do this, this is something that you shouldn't follow. So we're gonna get into it now in depth. Why you shouldn't chase the pump. So what's the pump first? If you're starting in your bodybuilding journey, you might not know what's the pump yet. And so this is, that feeling when you're working out that you feel fuller because, the blood is going through your muscles that you're working on and the circulation is not as good as usual. So the blood stays a bit more in the area and doesn't go as smooth as usual. And so, the part is basically swelling, your muscle is swelling, and so you're just looking bigger basically. That's a good feeling basically. So maybe not as much as Arnold Schwarzenegger used to say it's like coming. I think this was an exaggeration of not generation iron, pumping iron.
It's as satisfying to me as coming is, as having sex with a woman and coming. So can you believe how much I am in heaven? I'm like getting the feeling of coming in the gym, I'm getting the feeling of coming at home, I'm getting the feeling of coming backstage when I pump up.
Arnold Schwarzenegger was exaggerating here, but honestly, when you have a good pump, this is a good feeling. You just feel fuller. So, if you haven't felt it yet, it's soon to come. When you're a beginner, it might not be easy to get, but as soon as you start building some muscle, you'll start having the pump. And so the thing with the pump is that very soon you want to rely on it. You're like, oh, well, if I'm having, a session and having good sensations and I feel that the muscle is pumping, then therefore this must be a good factor, right? But this is not the truth. This is not a good factor. And the truth behind this is because it's not a measurable factor. So what's the factor? Which means that obviously you're making gains. Well, this is progression. And you can't really progress by saying, I need to shock the muscle. Like shocking the muscle is something that we hear all the time in the fitness industry. And this goes hand in hand with the pump. Getting a pump, shocking the muscle. This is the kind of like same workout that we hear all the time from like, the classic gym goer on Instagram, or a lot of people who actually use performance enhancing drugs as well. Unfortunately, they rely a lot on the pump workout because that works for them, that works with the drugs, but it doesn't work for natural bodybuilders. So the pump is something to forget if you're natural and if you want to improve. And so since you need to measure things, well, here the problem is that you can't measure the pump. It's hard, to come up and say, well, I feel like my pump is a bit better than last time. Like, I guess you could do this with dieting once in a while. Like, like for example, if you're cutting and all of a sudden you eat a lot of food, then you're gonna, restore your glycogen and you're gonna feel like really pumped in one session. But like, this is not like something you can say every week, my pump is getting better. A pump is a pump and it's always the same pump. And this is different than, for example, saying, well, my bench went from 10 times 100 kg to 10 times 110. Here there is an actual progression in numbers, so you can say, well, I've obviously improved. But the pump, you can't say, my pump is twice or three times as better as last time, and there is a limit even if it gets better to this. Like, you can't just constantly improve on the pump. So for example, the pump, you could say, I'm doing 100 reps with 2 kg dumbbells, and you have a pump because obviously you've been going back and forth with the little weight. But does it mean you're gonna build muscle because you've been curling 100 times 2 kg? Well, no. Same, you could do whatever, being between two flights at the airport and carrying your luggage, which are quite heavy, and you get a pump from carrying this stuff. But it doesn't mean you're gonna improve and say, well, I'm getting bigger because of the pump I got from like carrying luggage. Like, there is nothing measurable here. You need to have weights where you can add the numbers, and the weights going up every now and then. You need to measure. So the last thing I want to say is that obviously you will hear it a lot, amongst the fitness industry and stuff. So you'll hear on Instagram people who mainly take steroids, say, well, you've got to like work on the pump, like the feeling is important, the mind muscle connection. So I mean, the mind muscle connection, in a way, I mean, if you want to do it, it's just good to have the proper form and actually target the right muscle without actually maybe sometimes cheating too much and actually not working the muscle. But Otherwise, there is no really such thing as the mind-muscle connection. Like it's just targeting the right muscle, and then everything about how it feels. You should forget about it. Obviously, as you do good sessions anyway, doing the right things, like I explained in other videos, how to build muscle, how many reps to do. The pump will indirectly come when you do this. So you don't need to like chase the pump, because if you work out normally in a way that you should improve and progress the right way, then the pump will come indirectly. So you don't need to bother about it. So that was it for today, guys. The pump, don't chase it, and stay on measurable factors, and stay on landmarks, where you can have landmarks and really write everything down, because this will help you to see how you can do better than the last time. All right, see you later.